Welcome to In the Kitchen with Dinah. Today we're making sourdough focaccia.
Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone's in the kitchen, I know. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Gonna taste good, I know.
As part of my sourdough series, I thought I'd take you along, show you how to make focaccia for the first video of the sourdough. And I'm doing that because, in my opinion, everybody wants to jump ahead and make these fancy artisan loaves. But if you were learning how to swim, they wouldn't just throw you in the deep end and say swim. They would take you to the side, have you put your face in, blow bubbles, and maybe kick. So we're gonna get used to mixing, measuring, and just seeing what the dough looks like overall before we jump in to the next thing. So you're gonna need your scale, turn it on to grams, get it 0. I like to use a clear glass bowl so I can see all my bubbles as they're fermenting. And I have our starter here. I fed it this morning. You're gonna need 125 grams. So if you want to take some of your starter out and just measure 125 grams, you can do it that way. I took this morning 25 grams out. And then I put 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of water in here, so I know that I have 125 grams of starter that I need. So here is some healthy sourdough starter, even looking from the top. And it smells delicious. So the first thing we're gonna do is add 430 grams of lukewarm water to our bowl and make sure it's zeroed. And we're just gonna pour some in until we get to 430 grams. I usually don't stand here and there's quite a glare from the lights. It's kind of funny. Am I gonna need more water? Oh, I'm 15 grams short. 1 second. That's funny. So we know that it's more than 2 cups. I never measure, I just always go by grams. So 430 grams of water. Okay. And 125 grams of starter. So we're just gonna pour this in. And it should be sticky and gloppy and gooey and smell so delicious. And when we put it in here, you can see that it's floating like a raft on a river, and that's exactly what you want. I'm just gonna scrape all that out. So there's 125 grams of starter in there. And then you can either take a whisk, a fork, or if you don't have a Danish dough whisk, they're fabulous for sourdough. I kind of break it up into the water and kind of get it milky. I like a thicker starter, so it takes a second to, you can see it's kind of just like, I like to get it broke up before we start adding the flour in. Like I said, if a fork works great too. All right, let's zero that. We need 500 grams of bread flour. If you don't have bread flour, all-purpose will work. That's also why, that's so loud, sorry. We're gonna start out with this one just because it's so straightforward and easy. So 500 grams. Oh, well. All right. And last but not least, salts. Very important because without this, it tastes bland, very bland. So we need 8 grams of salt. So I'm just gonna dump some in until I get to 8 grams. 7. And you want to use a good quality sea salt or Celtic salt. I've got Redmond's real salt in my little salt dish. And then I'm just going to take it off. We're just going to whisk it together. If you want to jump in and use your hands, you can. The dough will be very sticky because it is focaccia. just want to stir it until it turns into a really shaggy, ugly duck dough. Now it is after dinner, and I'm going to let this sit on my counter all night. We're going to bake it off tomorrow. So this is a great one. If you're a working mom, you can mix it up the night before and have it ready to go for dinner the next day if you want it. Focaccia, I have noticed that it is great with Italian seasonings on it. It's great with like mozzarella if you want to use it like breadsticks for spaghetti, which we've eaten a few times now. And then the other morning I did cinnamon and sugar, like a cinnamon roll, and then I put like a frosting drizzle on it, and that was really, really delicious. All right. So you've got your nice wet dough hanging out. Make sure there's no flour bits. All right. Now we're going to let this sit, and all the liquid and everything is going to absorb. I'm kind of scraping it down. Get it all off your whisk. It is super wet and super sticky, but it's so delicious. So I have this cool Tupperware lid, and I just set it on top. And we will be back in a half an hour. We're going to just do a couple stretch and folds to help build the gluten and strengthen our dough before we put it to bed tonight. So we'll be back in a half an hour. So our dough has been sitting here for about a half an hour, hanging out. It's absorbing all the flour. We're going to do some stretch and folds. And if you've never done those before, I'm going to show you how. I usually do this over by my sink so I can just get my hands wet. Because you want your hands wet so your dough doesn't stick, but I brought a bowl over here. So if your bowl or your sink isn't close, just get a little bowl of water. So I just get my hand wet, and I'm gonna go in at 12 o'clock, and it's really loose right now. We're just gonna pick it up and kind of set it on itself. We're gonna turn the bowl a quarter turn. We're gonna do it again. If it starts to stick, just dip your hand in the water again. Quarter turn, pull it up real gentle. I kind of jiggle it a little. And quarter turn again. Now I'm going to do this again because this dough is really loose. I just jiggle it, turn. Stretch and folds are kind of like kneading if you were doing like a yeast bread on your counter. This is how you're strengthening your dough and getting that gluten working. Now, if you don't have a half an hour to do between each stretch and fold, you can push it to every 20 minutes. All right, so you can kind of see it's getting well incorporated. It's starting to take a little shape. I usually do the first. I'm a little more aggressive on the first ones. Okay, just pick it up, I kind of put it together. All right, so I kind of got it in a bowl. I'm gonna put the lid back on, and then I'm gonna do this 3 more times every 20 to 30 minutes, and then we're gonna put it night-night. This is the second set of stretch and folds.
Seems like it's gotten bigger.
And look at, I mean, it's just jiggly, it's beautiful. It's the part I like because it feels so good. See how much it's tightened up already? It's gonna continue to do that. And you can even see there's bubbles already forming, which is great. I'm gonna go around again just to get it nice and tight. I kind of do this until the dough doesn't want to move anymore.
Oh, I see. So you're making the skin so tight that it's like...
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the whole point. Okay. We'll be back half an hour. This is our third stretch and fold.
Yeah, I can see how in between it just like flattens out and relaxes.
Mm-hmm. Just a little. So this is my final stretch and fold. And as you can see in here, it's already starting to get some bubbles.
Ooh.
And if you look down here, it's getting some bubbles here. That's exactly what we want because it's fermenting. So I'm gonna do one more stretch and fold, and I just keep my water here because, well, it's easy. Just do one more. This dough is loose anyway, but like I said, it's good practice doing stretch and folds, looking for bubbles, feeling like what the dough feels like. And it is super sticky dough. So now that you have all your stretch and folds complete, I'm going to put a sealed lid on this and put it in the fridge overnight. And then tomorrow we'll transfer it to a 9x13. It's going to do another rise, and then you bake it off. So I'm going to tuck this in the fridge and we'll be back in the morning. Well, good morning. I just went and got our sourdough focaccia out of the fridge. Let's take a look at it. It's got some bubbles, which is good. It's really flattened out, and I know that it's fermented in the fridge. So we're gonna pretty much leave it out most of the day. It's cool today. So I've got a 9x13, and I'm just gonna really oil it well. Just using some olive oil. You wanna use a very neutral oil. And I get in there and I even get the sides because once you put this dough in, it's gonna sit there all day. And when you bake it, I tell you how sticky it gets. Then you can think about what toppings you wanna what you wanna have on it too. I usually just do like Italian-ish seasoning. Make sure you go all the way up because it does rise quite a bit. All right, so I mean, it's pretty well oiled. So now, all we're gonna do, oh, nuts. All my drawers are shut.
You don't have your bench scraper or
Don't
nothing?
have my bench scraper.
Okay, hold on. Let me
It's
see if I
okay,
can get
my
it.
hands are working. I'm gonna do it so you guys can see. I'm just really coaxing it out. It's not too sticky. I can actually just pick it up.
Wow.
And I'm just gonna leave it in there. And I'm not even gonna like smush it out. It just needs to hang out there. 3 to 5 hours. I'm gonna let mine go like most of the day. So I'm gonna just leave it on my counter. I using my cake pan because I have a lid, and it's just gonna sit there and it's gonna ferment more. You're gonna see more bubbles. And then as the oven is preheating later today, we'll add, you know, more oil and poke holes, and I'll show you how to do that. So let it hang out. If you have to leave for work in the morning, just do this step and let it hang out on your counter all day. It should be fine. So just leave the lid on, let it sit there all day, and then we'll be back to show you the next steps. Well, we are back. It's been sitting here. We're gonna get it baked off for dinner. And it should be looking a little like this. So the dough is spread out all over the pan. There's bubbles everywhere. There's big bubbles, there's little bubbles. First thing you're gonna do is we're gonna spread more oil on it. And we're gonna dimple that in. So I just kind of see if I can drizzle. If not, we're gonna smear it around with our fingers anyway. Just a couple tablespoons. And then I do just kind of, keep a rag around because your hands are going to get messy. Now, our favorite way, I would say, is just we kind of lean towards the more Italian seasoning way because this is great for breadsticks, Italian dishes like lasagna or whatever. It's also fantastic. The last one I made, I put like mozzarella cheese on it. And I think the next one I make after this one, I'm going to flatten it out even flatter and put all the pizza toppings on it. So this is where you can get creative. You can put like sliced tomatoes or fresh herbs or whatever. I'm just using some dried Italian seasoning because that's what I have. but you can get really creative. You could do jalapeno cheddar, like whatever you come up with, it will be delicious. Do some onion and garlic. The last one I made, I had some left over and it got really dry and I turned it to croutons, and that was super good too. You also could probably turn it into breadcrumbs.
So really quickly, while you're spreading that, how in the heck did you make croutons? Like, what did you do?
Oh, I cut them up, and we might have to have an episode on that. I'm going to say that's good. I put a little pepper on. And a little bit of salt. Not much, though. Okay, now comes a little messy part. We're going to take our hands and poke, make some dimples in it.
And what is the purpose?
Well, it makes the focaccia. So the oil is going in there. You're kind of working some of your seasonings in. That's kind of the look of focaccia.
Cool.
So interesting, isn't it?
It is. It's definitely different. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't think of a...
I think that some sliced apples and make it almost into like an apple fritter might be really delicious as I'm sitting here poking. There's so many different combinations. Let's get this in our 425 degree preheated oven for 25 to 30 minutes. All right, there's our timer. Let's take a peek at it. It smells amazing. All right, it's a little blonde. I'm going to put it back in for about 5 more minutes. Oh yeah, that's perfection. Yum. This looks and smells amazing. I don't know, there's gonna be oil that pools around in it, and I'm gonna let it cool for just a second, and then we're gonna cut into it because I want to show you the inside of it because it is so amazing. So bear with me as we wait. You guys, this smells so good. It's cooled off enough I can get it out of the pan, and we're gonna move it over here to the cutting board. Now, one thing I will say, make sure you put enough oil in the bottom, probably more than you think. I had a couple places that stuck, but we got it loose. You can cut it into squares or breadsticks, however. I'm gonna cut it into squares. We're gonna share this with some friends tonight. And because it's so thick, in my humble opinion, and I am a serious bread lover, man, one hunk, it's a lot. So I'm gonna go on the smaller side. And smaller, I mean, still too big. Oh, listen to that crispy crust. And a straight blade is the best way to cut this. We've tried serrated and it just rips it apart. Here we go. I'm going to show you how beautiful that is. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? All those holy goodness. Oh my word. It is like eating a pillow of deliciousness. Oh, now, if you guys, was Little Caesars nationwide?
I think so. In the 80s
guys-
it was, for sure.
If you were alive in the 80s and old enough to eat pizza, you might remember Little Caesars. It'd come like square and then it'd come in like a paper bag. This crust, especially on the edges, so, you hear that? So much reminds me of that Little Caesars pizza. That's why I want to make this into pizza, you know, so many times. I'm going to cut me a little slice off here. And see, Denver's in the kitchen. My dog loves sourdough. Let's have a bite. Oh, yeah. Crispy edges, soft, pillowy, delicious inside. With the sourdough, It's like Olive Garden to eat your heart out. These are so much better. I just need a moment. Do you need some? Here you go. Ready? Here we go. Yum. So for our first sourdough recipe, I hope that you guys find this easy. It really is. It just takes a little time and a little planning, but having this, it's delicious. When it cools off, you can just store it in a Ziploc bag. These preheat really well under the broiler, and I just smeared a bunch more butter on them and like toasted them up again for like leftover spaghetti night or soup or whatever you're having it with. So thank you for joining me in my kitchen as I shared one of our first recipes of our sourdough sessions with me. I wish you guys great success. Make sure you comment below if you've got questions or need anything. And as always, the recipe will be in this description below. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you on the next episode. Oh, did I turn this on? Yes.
Brad, you said we have to do this 4 times?
Yes. See, I usually get up, do it, just come back, sit down, and you're like, well,
I don't even know.
You don't even know.
Spin 3. She just walks off.
I do.
She
I
doesn't even
just
say
walk
anything.
off.
That's it, I'm out of here.
So this will be our final fold and
Cut. Cut. Go back.
It's getting late. Stretch and fold.
Stretch and fold. That was so great. Is yours on?
Gonna taste good, I know.